Hey! Alright guys, it's time for our sip challenge. Our sip of the day. My gorgeous mug comes from AscensionLife brand. And if you would like to get yourself one, underneath this video you will find a link to that mug. And you will also find how to enter into the sip contest. It's a little bit different this time. On May 25th, I'm giving away money. So if you want the money, if you need the money, yeah, that's a better one. Try to leave it for somebody that actually needs it. You know, if you're already a baller, come on now. You know, so if you need the money, please enter the sip contest. I'll be glad to pass it on. All right, so my name is QueenAusetHeru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to everybody that you know. Please drop us a positive comment in the comment section. And if you want to get a reading done, all my information will be underneath the contest and the sip cup and all that. It'll be underneath that, okay? So please hit me up. Now, today I'm going to talk about an infamous Aquarius. I've done this segment a lot over the years, and I've talked about a lot of infamous Aquarius or famous Aquarius. This woman is infamous. Her name is Enriqueta Marti. Now, she was born on February the 2nd of 1868. Before I go into why she's infamous, I would like to give you guys a trigger warning, okay? This woman was awful, and all of her crimes were against children, okay? And her ending, how she ended, was very violent. So if you cannot stomach hearing violence, especially violence against children and the unaliving of children, don't watch this video. Don't watch it, okay? Because that's what this whole video is about. From beginning to end, as soon as I start talking, it's going to get funky, okay? And I am telling this story because I thought it was awful, number one. And number two, I couldn't believe she was Aquarius. Like, oh, come on. There are quite a few infamous Aquarius. But this woman, I want to beat her up myself, quite frankly. That's how she makes me feel, I swear. But let's get into it. So listen up. Okay, let me give you some information. All right, so this young lady, we're going to call her Kita, so I don't have to keep on stumbling through her name. Kita basically left home as a very young girl. It was said that she lived in a very impoverished neighborhood. It says here that she left her hometown as a young girl. So when she left her hometown, she decided that she would start working for rich families in neighboring larger towns. So they said that she started off as a nanny. This was in Spain. So she was working in Barcelona. Barcelona was the nearest big city. So she went there to work as a nanny and to work as a maid for these rich families, right? So as she was doing this, she realized that she was very attractive and that she could make more money in illegal, prostitution. Basically, let's just call a spade a spade. So she got into that. She started to, sell her services. And she was old enough. I mean, that was her personal decision. That's fine. And they said that she was a very attractive woman. Well, she met a painter and she fell in love with the painter. So she stopped being a prostitute, or so he thought, to become a wife. So she was married to the painter. It says here they had a revolving door relationship. Aquarius often have revolving door relationships. This is a toxic, maybe a karmic relationship, and they keep getting in it and out it, So they'll be with this person, they'll leave this person. And according to this, they broke up 6 times and they had no children. Okay, so one of the reasons why they broke up was because she would not stop being a prostitute. It says here that she kept on sleeping with other men for money. I don't know. Maybe he didn't make enough money, or maybe she just liked it. I don't know. But she wouldn't stop. And it also says that she kept on visiting houses of ill repute. A house of ill repute is basically a brothel. Some of the times it could just be a bar or a speakeasy, but in most cases there's some kind of prostitution going on there. So for some reason she just could not give this lifestyle up. So her and her husband kept getting back together and breaking up off and on until the bitter end. Now, one of the things I found to be interesting that they said was that some kind of way she decided during this time that she was going to start to steal, kidnap children and make these children do the business that she was doing. You know, she had clients that were the P word, you know, and she had these clients, kind of like if you put you in the mind of Harvey Epstein and them, you know, and she had these clients and she would basically go into neighborhoods and steal children for this. She would dress as a beggar so people did not recognize her. And she usually wore fine clothes and things. You know, she made pretty decent money. So she would put on beggar's clothes, you know, things that were dirty, torn, tattered, you know, that kind of thing. And she would go into places, pretend to be a beggar, get services from charities, and steal, literally kidnap children for these sinister purposes. So after that, after she became a little bit more successful, she opened up several brothels of her own that catered to the sick people that were into what she was selling. Okay? So it says here that after the children were abused in this way, and either she was going to get caught or the kids were on, you know, I don't know. She said I don't know. I don't know what the heck they could have possibly done to deserve this, but whatever. After she had used them for whatever she was going to do, oftentimes she would unalive them. Okay? So taking this from kidnapping, assault, to now murder. So it says some of her victims were as young as 9 months old. That's the part that really broke my heart, is that not only are they children, like they're so innocent babies, like, ugh. And then she started to do something else weird with this. So now you're doing these, you know, these murders, and she's using their body parts, right? At that time period, and before, and maybe still, some people thought that you could use blood and different things to keep yourself young. There was a countess called Elizabeth Bathory. She used to take baths in the blood of virgins because she thought that it kept her young. So this woman, this savage, infamous, grotesque Aquarius, started to make potions, she called them, out of the remains of these little victims. So she would make creams and different things, soaps, stuff like that, out of their remains. And this did two things for her. First, it helped her to dispose of, you know, the poor children's remains. And also, she could sell these for expensive prices to her high-profile sicko clients. Okay? And that's basically what she did. Now, it says here that one time she actually got caught and was let go because some of the clients that she served were high up there, you know, financially speaking, in government and places like that. So some of them pulled some strings for her and got her off. So she was actually caught one time before. The second time we're about to see she gets caught again. So it says here, another thing that's interesting about this situation was she had a book of her clients and victims. So she kept a little book, kind of like that movie, The Client List. And that lady had the list of the clients. This fool keeping a list of the clients and the victims, which is going to come in handy later on. It says that this awful woman did this for 20 years. Okay? She got away with this for 20 years. Only God knows how many innocent lives she managed to destroy in 20 years. So the reason why she got caught, it says here that she was caught for the final time because she kidnapped a little girl. And she cut the little girl's hair off to try to disguise who the little girl was. However, the little girl was looking out the window, and the neighbor across the yard saw the little girl. And the neighbor was very suspicious of this Aquarius. She thought she was a creeper. She gave her a real bad feeling. So she was watching like, nah, who that little girl? Why she got a little girl all of a sudden? She had one child in there before. Now who's this second mysterious child? So she asked her. She went right up to the Aquarius and said, yo, what's this? Who's this child? And the Aquarius slammed the door in her face. Big mistake. Because she didn't say something, because she could have lied and maybe would have knocked the lady off the trail. Thank God she didn't, though, because the lady went and told other people. I think she got that missing baby. And the cops came, and that baby was there. Thank goodness she was still alive. And there was another child there that they don't know where the other child came from. They don't know if she stole that child or what. She tried to say the child was hers. But remember that painter husband? He says she never had a child with him. So when the cops asked him, he said that was not his child. So they don't know where she got that child from. Some accounts said that her sister-in-law gave birth and died, and she kept the child. So we don't know exactly where she got the kid from, but that was one of the common rumors at that time. Now, mind you, she had been stealing children for a long time. So you might ask yourself, well, how come now they figure it out? Well, this kid was high profile. All of the other kids that were taken, nobody really made a big thing about it. So they would say something, it might be talked about, but this kid was in the newspaper. So it was a big thing, and everybody knew about it. And they were on the police about all of these child kidnappings that kept on happening and going unsolved. So when the lady told on her, there was no way she could get out of it this time because it was so high profile. So they came and got her. The little girl was returned to her parents, thank goddess. And they came and arrested this infamous Aquarius. It says here that she was never convicted, though. Peep this. She went to jail and was in prison. Now, remember I said she had that list, right? Well, the people on the list was shitting bricks, okay? Because they was afraid they was going to get put on Front Street for their disgusting activities and services they were buying from this crazy woman. So what ended up going on was that while she was in jail, and they don't know this for a fact, this is the rumor that went around, but while she was in jail, she was murdered. Some accounts said that she was hung. Some accounts say she was beaten to death. But on the official record, it says ovarian cancer. Very interesting. Remember, some of her clients were high up there. So what was speculated from the authorities was that her clients had her killed in jail so she would not release the client list, which had all their names on it. So she was killed, basically, is the bottom line, and they covered it up like it was cancer. So they later buried her in an unmarked common grave, which was definitely very they did that a lot during that time. That was something that they did a lot. If you didn't have anybody to claim your body or to bury you, they put you in an unmarked common grave. So no, she wasn't convicted, but street justice definitely took her out of here. Okay, so when I saw this story, I was like, wow, this is like one of the most awful things I've ever heard in my life. And it made me want to punch her in the head too. So I can totally see why the other inmates were keen, on doing, on kicking her butt and taking her out of here, because I wanted to choke her my damn self. But the one thing I can say about this person was 9 times out of 10, when a person is this infamous, they in general have gone through something. Remember, they say she came from a very poor background. a lot of people that come from poor backgrounds, and this isn't all of us, because I grew up, my mother used to give food stamps when I was young, so we were considered to be technically poor, and we didn't have an awful life. I didn't even know we were poor. I didn't know we were poor till I got older, and other people was like, you know, why you get food stamps? And I'm like, you know, I don't know. But I came to find out that some of the times when people live in these impoverished, especially during that time period, some of the times that things have happened to them. So it makes me wonder what happened to her prior to leaving her hometown and coming to Barcelona. Or was she just a monster? Because maybe, you know, maybe she had a normal upbringing, didn't have much money, but she had a normal upbringing, but just grew up to be a monster. Because unfortunately, from some of the true crimes that I look at, that's the case sometimes. Sometimes there's severe abuse and neglect. Like, remember I told you guys the story of Griselda Blanco? I think it was her last name I think it was Blanco. I know her first name was Griselda. She was one of our infamous Aquarius. Well, Griselda came from a life where her own mother was prostituting her at 4 and 5 years old. So she came from this history of violence, because that wasn't the only thing that happened. You guys remember the story. And I mean, it was awful. It was an awful life. And then she went on to do awful things. So sometimes a person has an awful life and goes on to do awful things. And sometimes a person has an awful life and goes off to do saint-like things. You never know. It's a person's choices. You know, two people can get abused the same way and turn out totally different. It's the choices that they make, the healing that they're able to do, you know, the opportunities that they come across. So I don't know why this Aquarius chose to do something that was probably one of the worst crimes I've ever reported on this channel. But I do know that there's a great possibility that she may have been victimized herself. So does that excuse her behavior? No. I still want to choke her out. I would like to bring her back to life and choke her out, quite frankly. But the case is that is what happened. So that is the infamous Enriqueta Marti. Now let's take a look at some positive comments so we can get a little palate cleanser going on here. Aquamarie Tarot. Hey, Aquamarie Tarot said, I smiled throughout this entire video. What a joy to hear your live reactions. Thank you so much for your kind words. They mean so much to me. See, this is how come I really enjoy being able to unbox all of the tarot cards and the oracle cards on, you know, live. I don't open them when I first get them, and sometimes, like, I got a stack on my dining room table right now, so sometimes it is quite a long time before I'm actually able to get around to it. So it can definitely be problematic. Sometimes it's a while before I'm able to do it. But I like it, and I do it that way because you guys get to see my honest first reaction when I see the deck for the first time, you know, and that really excites me. All right, guys, we are going to pick one more positive comment. Okay, this one came from my boy Jordan Oliver. Hey, Jordan. Jordan says some men are toxic because of how they were conditioned. I agree with this message 100%. Good message. He's saying some men are conditioned that way. And you know something? I don't disagree with that. Some men are conditioned to be toxic. Because when I was growing up, some of the times you would see a man or even a woman with a little boy telling him, stop being a pussy, man up, don't cry. You know, stuff like that. I mean, he's 2. You know, he's 3. He fell down the steps and busted his chin and he's crying. And they tell him, man up. Don't be crying. Da-da-da-da. So some of the times, yeah, that energy is conditioned into you by other people, adults that are around you. If you're in a toxic, dysfunctional family, they're going to usually condition you because that's their belief system. They don't think they're toxic. They don't think they're dysfunctional. They think this is the way of the world. So I agree 100% with Jordan. Good observation, Jordan. All right, my dears. You come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.